and welcome everyone. This is the live stream. I am your host, your Kevinly father, Kevin Williams, and we are going to take a look at the just announced and actually I think just finished interview with Rudy Giuliani on Newsmax, which is a thing that I just found. I'd seen it before. I think Alex Jones was on there, or maybe still is, or I don't know if that's a thing or not. Hi, everyone. Let's just make sure we're broadcasting here. It looks like we're up on the YouTubes. Yes, we are. I see people in there. I see people on... Are we live on Twitter? We're live on Twitter. We're live on Periscope. We're probably up on Facebook. I'm not worried about it one way or the other. So this is, oh yeah, man, we're all over the place. A ton of people watching. Okay, so Newsmax, they actually are on YouTube and they're on Pluto TV. There's a number of different sources you can find them on. So here you go. This is Rudy Giuliani. Let me set up the audio. I'm going to need my headphones. I knew I was feeling naked for a reason, besides the fact that I'm not wearing pants. Big news today, of course, a judge in Pennsylvania just threw out another Trump case. It's really more the same Trump case, saying you need a couple of things. This has neither of them. You need to have evidence. It needs to be compelling. You got nothing. So that was thrown out. This is going nowhere, and they still persist. No, Biden doesn't have to prove that he got 80 million votes because he got 80 million votes. We'll talk about all that later. I got to do a couple of shut the facts up. Let me make sure that you guys can hear this when I play this, and we will get going right away. I just figured out that that Rudy was on Newsmax from Trump's tweet. I was replying to Trump's tweet, and then I realized, oh, that's now, because it's East Coast. So it was happening right now. I don't even have anything to drink. The drinking word is fraud. So if you guys have something to drink, please. It's 4:34 somewhere. Let's watch Rudy.
And I want to thank Rudy Giuliani for having the courage to do this. Because there are other lawyers that backed down because they were being screamed at. Rudy is the greatest mayor in the history of New York, and there's a reason. He's got great courage, and he doesn't care. He wants to do what's right. This is going to be your crowning achievement because you're saving our country.
Rudy Giuliani on Friday getting a shout-out from the President of the United States, and he joined...
And the judge threw him out of court. Crowning achievement.
Joins us right now once again. Great job, Mr. Mayor. Great to see you. Welcome back to Newsmax. How are you?
Thank you, Greg. Very nice to be back with you.
First off, the appellate ruling in Pennsylvania did not go your way, but
no,
I guess
it did not.
You kind of...
This is what the judge in the appellate hearings said. This is, by the way, this is Judge Stefanos Bibas, who is a Trump appointee, one of those record number of judges that Trump has appointed. Free, fair elections are the lifeblood of our democracy. Charges of unfairness are serious. That is true. But calling an election unfair does not make it so. Charges require specific allegations and then proof. We have neither here. That's the judge. The judge in the case. Biden cheated, but we're not going to tell you any evidence. We're not even going to make allegations in court because if we do, we get sanctioned and disbarred.
Want it to not go your way because you want to get this thing to the Supreme Court right away?
They were trying to lose it.
Sure, I mean, well...
By the way, you can't present new arguments in Supreme Court. You just can't do it. You can have people file amicus briefs, which means that like an interested party, a friend of a party, can, for example, the Department of Justice could file an amicus brief, and the Supreme Court justices could consider that, etc. But everything has to already be there. You can't just magically turn up new evidence in the Supreme Court.
What we wanted out of that case was a hearing so we could put our witnesses on. The judge wouldn't give us a hearing. The appellate court wouldn't give us a hearing. But we got our hearing with the state legislature. So in essence...
That's nothing official. There's absolutely zero judicial process involved in that hearing that they had, you know, at the Ramada.
Since we accomplished the purpose...
What was it really? It was a Wyndham Gardens landscaping, total landscape. What was it really?
Of that case, and the Supreme Court can now take a look at. But we wanted to get, finally, after all the censorship that's going on, we wanted to be able to show that we have evidence, and we have a lot of it. So we put 10 or 12 witnesses on who observed the fraud.
Right, and none of them presented any evidence of fraud. And even the allegations themselves were just like, Remember the allegations in the hearing? Well, I didn't get to see the USB drives. All right. Well, I could see this counting, but I couldn't see the other kind of counting. Was the counting that you saw, was that good? Yeah, no, everything was fine there. Everything was fine. But I couldn't see the counting on the other side.
They observed
basically complaints about eyesight.
The counting of ballots multiple times, the same ballot being...
Yeah, that's what you do with the machines. If a ballot is rejected, you run the entire 50 batch again. The standard procedure. There's nothing wrong with that.
Entered in a machine multiple times.
Yeah.
They observed the complete isolation of the Republican inspectors for well over 600,000 ballots. And the only reason that was done is so that they could cheat. They didn't want to be observed cheating.
Oh, and also COVID. They were 6 feet back at the end of it all. And compromises were reached in a court case earlier, which Rudy Giuliani claims that they won.
We had witnesses that said that in one part of the state, if you made a mistake on the ballot, you could fix it. Other part of the state, the Republican part, you couldn't. Well,
there's no Republican part or Democratic part of the state. Everybody in the state could cure their ballot.
Fixing it means committing forgery. When you
fixing it does not mean committing Hello, hold on. Yeah, it's the Pennsylvania Department of State, the Elections Board in my county, Fort County. Yeah, they want me to come in and my signature got smudged, so they want me to come in and I'll be right down there. Hi, I'm here to fix my ballot. Yeah, sure, I'll take this pen and I'll sign. All right. Is that I never sign things, so I don't know if my signature is that a close enough match? Is that that's me. Okay. You're under arrest for fraud. What is this man?
Fix a ballot after it's been submitted. There's kind of like forgery involved.
That's called curing the ballot, and that is completely legal.
And then you have this very strange situation where there are more ballots that were counted than were sent out by a couple 100,000.
That's complete nonsense. This is from an article from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. This is the 2nd of November. Ms. Brockvar, who happens to be the Secretary of State, said the election officials across the state approved applications for 3,097,640 mail-in ballots. Not the number that they said was on the website and then it went away. It's not a thing. Over 3 million ballots, or as Rudy Giuliani would say, 3,097,640 ballots.
Now, how did that happen?
Well, Mr. Mayor, wait a second. You just said you have evidence. Mr. Mayor, you just said you have evidence, and I have been hearing from the mainstream media from the get-go that there is no evidence.
From the get-go? How is he involved in this?
Said it's all unverified.
There's no evidence of fraud. It's all unverified.
And you made that point in the press conference last week. You've got affidavits. You got hundreds of them. You unveiled some of the evidence at that hearing, and they continually say you have no evidence, and all of this is unsubstantiated.
Even after the hearing with the witness, three of them very, very distinguished careers in the military. One of them is a cyber expert who actually can testify.
That doesn't know the difference between uploading and downloading. Cyber expert.
How information was being taken out of the machines. People, lawyers, doctors, people, very substantial people and very regular people. They're not going to put their names on an affidavit under penalty of perjury for something like this.
None of which had allegations of fraud.
The numbers are astounding. They cheated.
What numbers?
Over 700,000 votes.
Mr. Mayor,
this is a big fraud. It's not little.
No.
And it happened.
And yet the judge said there was no evidence of fraud and not even any allegations of fraud.
It happened the same way in 6 states. So now we're going to move on to Michigan and to Arizona and to Wisconsin and to Nevada and to Atlanta, Georgia, where the same thing happened.
When you file a lawsuit, by the way, and sometimes in court proceedings, you can have a hunch, you can have suspicion, you can have some evidence, but you bring it to a judge and
can't really file a lawsuit on a hunch, but okay. I mean, I guess you can.
A judge can say, oh, you've got something here, and then it goes into a phase called discovery, if I'm not mistaken. A judge can...
Yeah, we have never had that. We were deprived of that by the judge. The judge just threw us out. He threw us out.
Yeah, because you wouldn't tell him what the allegations were.
He decided the claims weren't true.
No, you didn't make any claims.
He just threw us out.
Again, when the media say, well, there's no evidence here, I mean, if you get a judge, and you will, like it would say, compel the other side to produce evidence. I mean, that can happen.
We'll get a judge like that, but right now we can't wait, so we're going directly to...
You can't compel the other side to produce evidence of something that doesn't exist, and you won't tell them what to produce.
The legislatures. Look, the Constitution of the United States puts the selection of the president in the hands of the state legislature.
Incorrect. Puts the power of the selection of the president. It lets the states' legislatures decide how to do the process.
Not the governor, not the attorney general.
Yeah.
But the state legislature.
Untrue. If the state legislatures decide that the governor shall make the decision, then that's the way it is. That's what the Constitution says.
They set the rules and they decide.
They set the rules. They decide
if the vote is correct.
No, they do not decide if the vote is correct.
So we're going to each one of
that is not in the Constitution at all. Boy, he had one thing right out of all of that. That's pretty good for Rudy, honestly.
These state legislators, and we're saying if you certify that vote, you're certifying a false statement. You're committing
certifying
fraud, because that vote is not the right vote. Biden did not win the number of votes that he has attributed to him. Some of those votes he won by taking a ballot and putting it in a machine and counting it 5 times.
Oh. Dave Mixon says you have to be specific about what material you want the other side to provide during the discovery process. Correct. You can't say, show us stuff proving that fraud didn't occur.
So he would get 5 votes for every one that Trump got. And we've got witnesses to that in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, and in Arizona.
So that's the game plan.
They followed the same fraudulent patterns in the big cities.
The mail-in votes in the big cities were far in favor of Biden. Biden actually didn't do as well in some of the big cities as Hillary. That is true. But he kicked ass in the suburb.
Where they control like dictators, where the Democrats have dictatorial control.
Really?
Plenty of corruption.
I happen to live in a city, and I don't feel controlled.
You know, it's wild.
That I live in the biggest county in the country. Do whatever I want, really. I mean, I can't park on the street overnight, but that's not a county thing.
Keep accusing your side of waging a coup, and everything you're doing is...
It's pronounced coup.
Totally legal, within bounds. The Electoral College has not convened. These things haven't been sent in yet, which I find ridiculous. So has your strategy shifted?
Which part is ridiculous? The Electoral College? Because that is correct.
Though, to primarily a political one, then a legal one. There's not enough time, perhaps, to get released.
Can we buy this guy like a real pen? Let's work with like an 89-cent Bic there. I feel sad for him.
From the courts, so you're going right to the legislatures, all of them that you just mentioned.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me zoom in on the pen there. You guys can't see the resolution. I can. That is that's a pen from the Four Seasons. You fill in the rest of that yourself.
And basically trying to persuade them this happened. So electorally, when you guys get together, your electoral vote should not be allocated for Biden.
We're doing both with equal speed, enthusiasm, and taking advantage of which one gives us the hearing the quickest and which one will work fast.
Well, that's what matters in lawsuits, as David can attest to, enthusiasm.
Is for us because we don't have a lot of time.
You should have some rallies about the lawsuits.
We've got a lot of evidence. We don't have a lot of time, and when we're facing a major censorship. So
landscaping, yes, that was the end of that joke. is it not a little weird that nearly everyone in this chat is an administrator? No. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and people come and go. So if there's not an administrator in there, I make them an administrator. I don't know how that's weird. And people want to watch as well. Not everybody can, otherwise you're just sitting there the whole time getting rid of idiots.
So that it's very hard to get this information out to the public. Public has only a small idea of the kind of evidence that we have. The situation in Michigan was worse than the situation in Pennsylvania. The situation in Wisconsin is outrageous.
Outrageous.
I mean, they have all these absentee ballots without applications. In Nevada, they used a machine that basically didn't work, and it let every signature go through, even though it's illegal to use a machine. I mean, they cheated in all the places that were critical to them, and they did because
it's not fraud though. That's still not voter fraud.
Trump was way ahead on the night of the election. It's impossible that Biden would have come back at every single one of those places.
It is not. That's what happened. So by definition, it is not impossible. And it's what we all knew would happen. This is what we were saying for weeks beforehand. Because your guy kept telling people not to vote by mail. That's on you. You created this issue.
Impossible.
Especially places like, the four cities where he...
Oh, I'm wrong all the time. I didn't say that everybody who disagrees with me is an idiot. But if someone comes in and starts insulting people and doesn't have something substantive to say, then they start to be timed out, and then they eventually get kicked out. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. Tag, I see that you like to see things in black and white. Think in nuances. Find the gray areas, and you'll fit right in. We'd love to have you.
Beat Hillary Clinton. Only 4 cities did he do better than Hillary, which is pretty wild. Milwaukee, Detroit.
Nope, he did worse than Hillary in Detroit. How do I do a reverse bell?
Atlanta and Philadelphia happen to be key.
He's getting that from Trump's tweet, which was incorrect.
Cities in great big swing states run by Democrats. I think there could be something there, don't you think?
There is not.
Oh, there definitely is. They picked what you would call home field advantage. Home field advantage means cities that they've been running for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and they're crooked as heck. I mean, crooked from top to bottom, including some of the judges.
Mayor Giuliani, one other thing, you prosecuted a lot of cases. I know you've had media watching some of those cases. Sometimes.
Well, then welcome back, Tag.
They've been in the courtroom. How much can they influence the events that are actually happening right now? Can it be overstated? Can it be understated, misunderstood? Because, they're selling a narrative that is not in agreement with what you're putting out there. Can it be neutralized? Does it really matter in the end, or is it having an impact?
Oh, it definitely has an impact. I mean, for example, they cover the hearing in Philadelphia, or rather in Gettysburg, and they cover the part where the president calls in. They don't cover the 8 witnesses. If that were the other way around, if it were the presentation.
Yeah, Sam, you can go to newsmax.com if you don't want to hear what I have to say on my channel, Sam. Just Google Newsmax. Okay?
Of witnesses against Donald Trump, every single one of those witnesses would be on for days, like they did during the Trump phony impeachment hearings.
Well, Mayor Giuliani, we covered the whole thing, but I will say this: we started the segment.
They're playing him out. I can't.
Segment with the president's praise of you, because we just thought it was a nice moment, but we had the whole thing on TV.
Thank you, Greg. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
That's
best
it?
to Andrew Giuliani, the family, and our best wishes to the president as well. In the
This is for control of the country, and you're giving Giuliani, what'd you give him, like 8 minutes?
entire team.
Thank
you, sir.
You too.
All right.
Wow.
All the best. Mayor Giuliani, stay with us. We'll talk about that and more good stuff coming up.
I didn't insult Sam Tag. Wow. Well, that's more good stuff coming up on Newsmax. So yeah, check out Newsmax on their channel. It's probably the best place to do it, so you don't get interrupted by that guy. Just go to Newsmax. Go to the feed that we're watching right now. Just go to YouTube, type in Newsmax. Sam, it's right there. It's not hard. Here, hold on. Where are you? Are you in the YouTube chat room? I'll send you a link. Hold on. Let's see. Can I get to the YouTube chat room? I think I can. Give me a second here. I'll send you a link to what we just finished watching right now. I think I can. Give me a second here. I'll send you a link to what we just finished watching right now. I think I can. Now we're getting an echo because I had to go to my own feed and come on. There we go. Here. It's youtube.com Newsmax TV. How about that? There you go. There's the program we were just watching. So hopefully that works for you, Sam. And there really wasn't much to the interview, unfortunately. So, no, Newsmax is not trustworthy. OAN is even worse. Fox News this morning just absolutely directly lied. I'll show you. I'm going to do a Shut the Fact Up about it, but because this was so short, I was just about to get working on the Shut the Fact Up, and this popped up. Hold on. Let me pull up our Fox and Friends. And I'll show you what they lied about 3 times. Okay, and let's go to... we'll have to search for it because it's no longer up at the top because of everything that's happened today. And Friends, there we go. Let's go to This Morning. We'll play This Morning. Some of you we watched this together, the president's comments on Thanksgiving yesterday. And they were fun to watch. And then Newsmax showed the highlights of those. Watch what happens here. This is just so disingenuous of them. But this is Fox and Friends. This is what they do.
Between now and the 20th.
Okay.
The Electoral College votes next month for President-elect Biden.
If the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden, will you concede?
Okay, then see the flash that's happening right now? Watch what they do.
Has not been successful so far in overturning any state results. The president said he would leave the White House if the Electoral College votes next month for President-elect Biden.
If the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden, will you concede?
Certainly I will, and you know that. But
That's not the answer to the question that we just saw. Will you concede? Certainly I will. And you know that. That was the question. The answer to that question was, will you leave the White House? He never said he was going to concede. That's completely disingenuous. Fox took the answer from one question and put it to another question. That's just, there's no way else. It's not disingenuous. It's just a straight out lie. They edited it so it looks like he was answering that question. It's Fox News. This is what they do all the time. There's a couple of shows in the middle of the day in Fox that are okay, but the rest of Fox just does this nonsense all the time. They did it at the top of the hour, all 3 hours on Fox and Friends this morning.
I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th.
Yeah, it's let's see. I wouldn't say we sucked it up for 4 years, but yeah, I mean, I accepted it. He's the president. That's the way the process works. Is it fair that the Electoral College decides instead of the American people? No. But you know what? We dealt with it. Anyway, I'm going to make a Shut the Fact Up on that right now. I might do the Pennsylvania thing as well. The 3 million votes, which is what I was talking about the other day when we were watching the hearing. So let's see, just before, well, I've got you here. Well, you're a captive audience. Let's go to the Caspan and see if there's anything there going on today that might be of interest to us. It was fraud was the drinking word for today. So this is from yesterday. Dr. Fauci, that's yesterday. That's from 2 days ago. That's yesterday. Yeah, there's nothing. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Nothing happens. Trump announced yesterday that he was going to be in Georgia tomorrow. Apparently, he meant next Saturday, but it was Thursday, and he said, "I'm going to Georgia on Saturday." It is a Saturday, so you are mad if you, the architect of our school-to-prison pipeline, Biden, is a decent mad. Oh, man, sorry. You are mad, meaning crazy. Okay, so you're from overseas. If you, the architect of our pipeline to school to prison pipeline, boy, I just can't even read that. That's so. Oh, but I'm glad you put it in brackets. It might be a second language. Leave him alone, or her. Are mail-in ballots vulnerable to fraud? Everything's vulnerable to fraud. The mail-in ballot fraud rate, though, is 0.0000025%. So it's pretty low. It's never actually affected an election. It is really, really hard to commit ballot fraud with mail-in ballots. Extremely difficult, and it's really easy to catch. That's the cool thing about it, is there's a paper trail. So much harder to catch than somebody going into the actual polls and presenting fraudulent ID to people who have no experience in expecting IDs. I could just make up a school ID. I could register under the wrong name at a local school in some states, get a school ID, and vote with that school ID. So yeah, it's much harder to commit voter fraud, and there is a paper trail. They know who you are. Or so do you, as you spelled my name incorrectly, native speaker. Yeah, let's not start this, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go do some editing. Everybody have a great night. Here are some credits for you. Somebody bugged me about doing the credits properly at some point. And Rich Mack, if you're in here, bugged me about the, we got to figure out the t-shirt thing. Maybe I'll do that right now instead. Yeah, I'll do that right now. I'll answer your question, Tag. That percentage is based on absentee mail-in ballots since 2000. And the security on absentee ballots gets better all the time. So 2000, they didn't have QR codes. Now they've got QR codes. So your mail-in ballot, they know exactly where that ballot is. Somebody has to steal it from your mailbox and then somehow fake your identity and sign your signature. It's no, unless you're signing for someone who recently died in your household, and that does happen, and that gets caught. Then yeah, it's incredibly hard to do. Okay, good. You're welcome. You're welcome, Sam. Have yourself a good one. Everybody else, take care of yourself, and we'll see you another time.